I'm Jane, and I'm a registered social worker. Willpower alone is not your best defense against relapse. Rather, the best defense is a series of actions through which recovery is maintained. Addiction is complex, but recovery does not have to be nearly as complicated. Most of us are familiar with healthy habits: sleep well, eat well, exercise well, nourish yourself, journal, meditate, access healthy support people, and keep structure and routine. It sounds like a simple list, but on our worst days, when we are coping with difficult emotions or struggling to solve problems, our easy, healthy habits often fly out the window. So, recovery asks us to anticipate likely problems in our life and develop effective coping strategies in order to increase our self control. In this video, I'm going to talk briefly about a few key concepts in recovery. These are self soothing, setting limits and boundaries, asking for help, responsibility, and accountability. So, setting limits and boundaries. Many people have unrealistic beliefs about what it means to live a life in recovery. Or they may have unrealistic beliefs about the lives of people who have never been in active addiction. So, you might assume that other people don't have as many life challenges as you do. You might assume that healthy people don't have problems. That simply isn't true. Everyone has problems. We as humans have an innate ability to cope with and solve problems. In recovery, we need to aim to improve bad situations, not make our problems worse. So, problem solving needs to be an active part of recovery. No amount of therapy or social support is going to keep bad days from happening, but a strong belief that you can handle what bad days throw at you is going to make your coping that much easier. One way to handle problems is by setting and maintaining healthy boundaries and learning to properly self-soothe. So when we're babies, we cry and we scream and we whine to get our needs met. Well, we can't scream and cry and whine to have our needs met as adults. Even as babies, we recognize our own discomfort and seek to fix things. So it's crucial for you to learn to self-soothe. So what does self-soothing actually mean? Usually we use our 5 senses in an effort to soothe ourselves. So this can be touch, by taking a warm bath or putting on comfortable clothes. So if you're someone who likes to kick off your shoes at the end of a long day and change into your comfiest sweats, you're already practicing self-soothing. Taste can serve to self-soothe, but be careful of overindulging. Try instead something like hot tea. Many people enjoy aromatherapy for their soothing, including diffusing or lighting a candle. Sight serves to self-soothe, watching a funny TV show, reading a book, or slowing down to watch the clouds pass by. If you're anything like me, you might find watching waves pass by to be particularly soothing. There's also nothing wrong about daydreaming about something that you're looking forward to. Finally, for the sense of sound, consider your taste in music. Music therapy has become a very popular treatment for stress, anxiety, and depression. And positive words of encouragement have their place in managing mental health as well. So these are just a few of the strategies for self-soothing you might employ based on the 5 senses. This truly is a very helpful thing to get good at. Self-soothing is a great way for you to handle emotional problems you may feel. If you're someone who may reach to an unhealthy strategy at the first sign of distress, try self-soothing first before you make a bad decision worse. Setting limits with others involves knowing and respecting your own boundaries. When you start to notice anger coming up in your life in response to others, it is possible that they are crossing a boundary. So, in addiction, you may spend months or years testing the boundaries of your relationships. You may not have consciously tried to test the people in your life, but it is possible that you pushed people in ways to see if they would stick around for you, come through for you, meet your needs, and enable your addiction behaviors. There's a chance that you didn't respect the boundaries of others, and there's also a chance that you didn't expect people to respect your boundaries either. So, setting boundaries is crucial to your emotional health and recovery. And they aren't meant to control behaviors or thoughts of others. Instead, they're guidelines to keep people emotionally safe and ensure that nobody's getting taken advantage of or abused. Setting appropriate limits and boundaries has clear advantages. So, for instance, if both parties know what is acceptable and what is not acceptable, it feels more comfortable to discuss when there's a problem or an unwelcome behavior. In this way, neither party can say that they weren't aware because the expectations and rules had already been clearly communicated. Effective boundaries help establish and maintain trust in relationships because neither party is feeling taken advantage of and acceptable behavior is clearly communicated. Examples of boundaries may include things like saying no to requests that are unreasonable. So, such as lending out money or lending your car out or giving free rides. Saying no to picking up substances for other people. Saying no to going to a party where people will be using substances. In order to do well setting boundaries in your recovery, it is important to be precise. Use specific language to communicate what is and isn't working. Communicate that actions have consequences. For instance, if you continue to call me names, we cannot keep having this conversation and I will walk away. So that brings me to an important point, that we need to follow through on consequences when we deliver them. So that means if that person keeps calling you names, you need to really walk away. Be prepared to deliver on the consequence. And to that end, you need to make it something that you can deliver. Boundaries without consequences are just warnings with no follow through. Be cautious about this and stay true to your word. If that means you need to think through the consequence before you share it, that's okay, but be prepared to follow through with whatever that consequence is. It's okay to say no in relationships. Many people have a false belief that by saying no, they may damage the relationship, but this simply isn't the case. It isn't reasonable to think that people only like you because of what you can offer them. It's necessary to say no to people at times and doesn't mean you'll damage the relationship. If you cannot set boundaries in your relationship, you will see that it takes a toll and you could endanger your sobriety. Asking for help is an act of responsibility and maturity. Your recovery involves getting to know when you're okay and when you need extra support, medical attention, or mental health treatment. It involves getting to know when you need time with others and when you need to recharge your batteries alone and nurture yourself. Asking for help could involve finding a sponsor or mentor who's committed to you and doing what it takes to maintain abstinence from substances. When it comes to asking for help, you might want to consider how you go about asking. For some people, putting a request in writing feels more comfortable than talking about it out loud. Writing down your request for help can help you collect your thoughts, reflect on your request, and make sure it makes sense and for you to organize yourself. Let's discuss taking responsibility. It can be hard to take responsibility for your life when you're in active addiction. Let's not forget that addiction is a disease. However, many people in active addiction tend to try to justify their using by shifting responsibility. These shifts may sound like laying blame on someone else for introducing the substance or blaming them for mistreatment. If you shift the responsibility to others, it allows you to escape the blame. People struggling with substance use may blame the past or their childhood for their current situations. Some people may feel that they do not deserve better, and in this way, they shift responsibility, whereas others practice learned helplessness or a sense that they're powerless over their choices or behaviors that could improve their life. So, why is it important to stop shifting blame and start taking responsibility for our actions? Because you need to be a willing participant in your own recovery. You need to do what you can to avoid sabotaging your recovery by having power over your own actions. If you feel responsible for your recovery, you're much more likely to work on it in a meaningful way. Although many people, including your support people like your recovery coach or therapist, have your best interest at heart, nobody else but you can do the work of recovery. Finally, it is so important for you to take responsibility for yourself because your actions have consequences for the lives of the people you love. In order to build confidence in your recovery and your ability to take responsibility for yourself, try setting small goals for yourself which you can build upon. Perhaps you have ambitious goals like going back to school, but consider starting small with the things you know you can nail in an effort to build your confidence. Part of learning to be responsible for your own recovery is by allowing people to stop rescuing us. This can be hard because much of our addiction behavior involves complicated dynamics with family and friends. It could be that your friends and family were there to protect you from some of the negative consequences of substance use. So, letting them step away from caregiving or enabling behaviors allows you to take responsibility for your reality. You will find that taking responsibility for your life can be empowering. You don't have to be a passive victim and instead take charge of the direction that your life is headed. It makes sense for you to ask for advice, guidance, and support, but making your own decisions is important. Having personal accountability can make a huge impact on your ability to make wise decisions. Accountability means that you're sticking to a plan, but it's also more than that. It means that you know the rules of the plan and why it's so important, how your recovery can help you, and the consequences of staying abstinent from substances or backsliding into relapse. Accountability is really about taking responsibility for the choices you make again and again. So, there are a few strategies you can employ to help with your accountability in recovery. Having an accountability partner or sober buddy can be a powerful motivator for people by breaking down isolation, having someone to turn to when you're dealing with a trigger who isn't going to enable you. Use technology that works for you. There are some amazing apps designed to keep you on track. These online support platforms operate 24/7, making them incredibly easy to access. Write down your personal accountability statement. This can be part of or in addition to your recovery plan. Include what the risks are if you don't stay accountable and why you're choosing to be accountable. Accountability involves continued work identifying and managing your triggers, as well as the healthy ways to handle them, and regular participation on more formal programs such as home based recovery, 12-step, peer support, or smart recovery groups. Finally, accountability means being accountable as well to your successes. And I mean celebrating your successes. Share and celebrate your successes with other people. I hope that you found this discussion of your recovery skills to be helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.